Today I will talk about the heart murmurs. What is heart murmurs? Murmurs are the abnormal sounds produced by the turbulence blood flow across the valve of hearts. So what is murmurs? Murmurs are the abnormal sounds generated by the turbulence of blood across the valve. So what is murmurs? Murmurs are the abnormal heart sounds produced by the turbulence blood flow across the valves. So first of all, you have to differentiate the murmurs from the heart sounds. Heart sounds are produced by the heart when valves are closed. When valves are closed, they produce a sound, and those sounds are known as heart sounds. But in contrast to the heart sounds, murmurs are the abnormal heart sounds produced by the turbulence blood flow across the valve. It does not produce when valves are closed, but it produces when blood are passing from the valves, and maybe some diseases that cause this. Okay, so after the definition of murmurs, today I will explain the characteristics of murmurs. First of all, murmurs are divided on the basis of these categories. Murmurs are divided first of all on the basis of timing, on the basis of intensity, pitch, shape, location, radiation, and response to maneuvers. So first of all, I want to start the murmur with respect to the timings. So on the basis of timing, murmur are divided into two categories. Either it is systolic murmurs, and either it is diastolic murmur. Timing means murmurs that is produced at which time. Either it is produced during which heart systole, and either it is produced when heart is in the form of diastole. So when murmurs produced during the systolic phase of heart, those murmurs are known as systolic murmurs, and those murmurs which is produced when heart is in the form of diastole, and those murmurs are known as diastolic murmurs. Alright, so first of all, before starting this classification, first I want to tell you the normal heart sound, and then the duration between the heart sounds in which these murmurs are produced. This is your heart. Okay, so these are the valves, and what really happens when ventricles contract, they apply the pressure on these valves, and these valves are known as AV valves, atrioventricular valve, or left side mitral valves, or right side tricuspid valve, and collectively known as atrioventricular valve. So when ventricles are contract, the AV valves are closed due to the pressure of ventricle, and when this AV valves are closed, they produce a first heart sound. They produce a first heart sound, and this first heart sound are known as S1. Alright, and after this, when ventricle contract, they eject the blood into the respective blood vessels. Right ventricle send the blood to the pulmonary artery, and left ventricle send the blood to the aorta. And remember that this aorta and pulmonary artery has also valves. So when ventricle contract, they close the AV valves, but open the semilunar valves. The aortic and pulmonary valve are known as semilunar valves. When ventricle contract, these semilunar valves are open, and blood flow into the respective blood vessels. But during this time, when ventricle contract, AV valve are closed and semilunar valve are open, there is no sound, because AV valve closed and semilunar valve are open. So there is a phase of isovolumic contraction. Isovolumic contraction means ventricle are in the form of contraction, but there is no sudden change in their valves. So there is a delay, and then what really happens after this blood flow from the semilunar valve, this valve again closed. This semilunar valve are closed due to the backward flow, and due to the backward flow, it again apply the force on the semilunar valve, and this semilunar valve are closed, and due to this closing of semilunar valve, they produce a second hard sound, which is known as S2. From S1 to S2, the phase are known as systolic phase. As you know, ventricles are in the form of systolic phase, and when this semilunar valves are closed, rapid ejection of blood from atria into the ventricles occurs, and due to this rapid ejection of blood from atria into the ventricle, this ventricle are in the form of diastolic force because it received the blood from the atria, and this diastolic phase start from the S2 because semilunar valves are closed and AV valves are open, and they receive blood from the atrium, and again the phase is known as diastolic phase. Phase is known as diastolic phase because in this phase heart receive blood from the atria, and again when this ejection, after this ejection, again this ventricle contract, and when this ventricle are contract, this mitral and tricuspid valve are closed, and due to this closing, they again produce first hard sound S1. So from S1 to S2, the phase are known as systolic phase, and from S2 to S1, the phase are known as diastolic phase. So those murmurs which are appear during systolic phase are known as systolic murmurs. Diastolic murmurs are produced when ventricles are in the form of diastolic phase. So right now I am only discuss the systolic and diastolic murmurs. Now it has also some types. So systolic murmurs are further divided into ejection fraction murmur, or we can say ejection murmur, or this ejection murmur also known as crescendo decrescendo murmur. Later on I will discuss what is the meaning of this crescendo and decrescendo murmurs. Crescendo decrescendo murmurs, crescendo decrescendo murmurs, and second category is pensystolic murmur. Pensystolic, please don't be pensystolic murmurs, or it is also known as holosystolic murmur. Murmurs. Later on I will tell you the detailed lecture on this particular murmurs, so please wait for this. Pensystolic murmur, also known as holosystolic murmur. The last one is late systolic. Okay, I want to change the marker. Late systolic murmur. Right. And diastolic murmurs are further divided into two categories. First category is early diastolic murmur, and mid to late diastolic murmur. Mid to late diastolic murmur. And again, some unusual murmurs are not categorized in systolic murmurs and diastolic murmurs, and those murmurs are categorized into separate class, and those murmurs are known as continuous murmurs. Continuous murmurs. And this continuous murmur also known as machinery murmurs. So today's topic is whole this classification. I will tell you the detailed lecture of all these classification of murmurs. So first of all, what really happens? Murmurs are divided into two groups: the systolic group and diastolic group. Those murmurs which appear in the systolic phase are known as systolic murmurs, and those murmurs which appear in the diastolic phase are known as diastolic murmurs. The systolic murmurs are further divided into three categories. The first one is ejection murmurs, or we can say the crescendo decrescendo murmurs, and the second category is known as the pensystolic murmur, and this pensystolic murmur are also known as yes, whole systolic murmurs. The third category is known as late systolic murmurs, and the last okay, after this systolic classification, now come to the diastolic classification. Now diastolic classification are further divided into early diastolic murmurs, and this early diastolic murmurs also known as decrescendo murmurs. These murmurs are known as decrescendo murmurs. Decrescendo murmurs. Please don't confuse about the terminologies. Later on I will tell you the detail of this particular words. What is the meaning of decrescendo, and early diastolic, and what is the meaning of decrescendo. So please don't confuse it. Decrescendo murmurs. And second category is mid to late diastolic murmurs, and the third category that is not fitting diastolic murmurs and systolic murmurs are continuous murmurs or machinery murmurs, and these are the murmurs which are appear in the systolic phase as well as diastolic phase. So these murmurs are continuous in systolic phase as well as from the diastolic phase, from the same intensity, or it decrease or increase through some mechanisms. Later on I will tell you the detail of this particular continuous murmur. Okay, now start the classification. The first of all, systolic murmur, I will tell you the systolic murmurs. First I will tell you the systolic murmurs. Okay, now systolic murmurs. And the first category is yes, ejection murmur, and this ejection murmur also known as crescendo decrescendo murmurs. Crescendo decrescendo murmurs. And the examples are in which these murmurs are appear. It is appear in aortic stenosis, and tricuspid stenosis, no, pulmonary stenosis, pulmonary stenosis. So these are the examples in which these ejection murmurs are appear. Now let's talk about the mechanism. So okay, I'm only drawn it here the ventricles and the great vessels. Here are the ventricles, and here is the septum and their valves. Okay, from left atrium a vessel arises, and this vessel is known as aorta, and from the right atrium a vessel arises, and this vessel are known as pulmonary artery. And there is no fun in telling about the valve. Here is the aortic valve, and here is pulmonary valve. So when these valves are stenos means they are hard as well as they are narrow. When these valves are hard and their lumen becomes so narrow, this condition is known as aortic or pulmonary stenosis. So what really happens when ventricles contract? The ventricles contract, they pump the blood into their respective blood vessels, just like right ventricle send the blood into the pulmonary artery and left ventricle send the blood into the aorta. But these valves are stenosed, and blood passing from these vessels, the blood are turbulent, the blood are hit with these valves because they are hard and cannot allow the rapidly coming blood to pass from this valve. So when this blood passing from this hard valve, they produce a turbulence sound, because they hit with this valve, and when this rapidly coming blood hit with this valve, they produce a sound that is known as murmur. So first, when ventricle are contract, their contraction are slow. So when this blood, initially this blood passing from this stenosis valve, they produce a low pitch sound. They produce a low pitch murmur. But as the ventricle contract gradually, strongly, the blood are passing from very rapidly, and they turbulate with each other, or we can say this coming blood, they produce a turbulent sound, and this turbulent sound heard in high pitch, in a high frequency. So what really happens in crescendo decrescendo murmurs means these murmurs are appear slowly and gradually increase their intensity, and then finally go into their again the isolated point. Now I want to draw it here so you don't confuse. Crescendo means those murmurs which are slowly increase, and decrescendo means this slowly gradually increase intensity murmur are again decrease their intensity. So decrescendo means increase intensity murmurs are decrease their intensity and appear as isolated line, right? So now I want to represent you the, first of all, you appreciate that these murmurs appear when ventricles are contract. So these murmurs appear in this area or in this area. Of course, these murmurs appear in the systolic area because it appear when ventricles are contract. So here is the S1 sound, here is the S2 sound, and again S1 sound. These are systole phase, and this is the diastolic phase. So what is the pattern of this murmur? It appears slowly and gradually increase their intensity and again decrease in their intensity. That's why it is known as crescendo. Crescendo means increase gradually, and decrescendo means decrease gradually. So that's why. And what is the why this pattern appear? Because initially when ventricle contract, the blood are passing from this abnormal stenosis valve are very slow. So they produce initially a low pitch, or we can say low intensity sound, and when major ventricle strongly contract, the blood passing very rapidly, and they produce a turbulent sound which is appear in the midway with a high intensity, and after this when ventricle contraction decreases, the intensity are again decrease. So that's why ejection murmurs are appear in the systole phase, and why it is called crescendo decrescendo murmur, because it slowly gradually increase and again decrease, and it is appear in the aortic stenosis and pulmonary stenosis. Okay, here is the intensity. Now we will only talk about the systolic murmurs and ejection murmurs. Okay, now let's move on to the second category, and the second category is pain systolic murmur. Systolic murmur. This is the representation of ejection murmur. Now let's come to the second category, which is pain systolic murmur. And this pain systolic murmur are also known as, yes, it is also known as holosystolic murmur. And it is appear in when mitral valve or tricuspid valve are regurgitate. So regurgitation of mitral valve and regurgitation of tricuspid valve. Now let's come to the mechanism. So this diagram is not useful description of this particular pain systolic murmur. Now I want to draw it another diagram, and again it requires ventricles and their valves. ventricles and their walls. So what really happens in pain systolic murmur? Normally, when ventricles contract, the AV valves are come close to each other and they close the AV valves. But in condition of regurgitation, in situation of regurgitation, these valves are not closed because these valves are so fluffy. Fluffy means they are moving from to and from motion, from starting from ventricle into the atrium, entry into the ventricle. So when ventricle contract, these valves are remains open and their leaflets are moved in the atrium, and blood, when ventricle contract, the blood are moved backward into the atrium. Here are the atrium, here is the atrium. So what really happens when ventricles are contract due to the regurgitation of mitral valve or mitral valve and tricuspid valve, the blood from ventricle passing into the atrium, and due to this backflow they produce again turbulent sound, and this turbulent sound are known as pain systolic murmur. And what is the meaning of pain systolic murmur and holostolic murmurs? This means here is the S1 sound. Okay, so here is the S1 sound, and here is the S2 sound, and here, and it is not required because we are only talking about the systolic murmur. So systolic murmur are normally appear in the S1 and S2 phase. So holosystolic means it start from the S1 phase and remain constantly and travel constantly into the S2 before S2. What really happens when ventricles contract, the first heart sound are softly and they cannot close, and when they cannot close, they does not produce a heart sound, which is not, so in mitral valve regurgitation, or what we can say, the S1 sound are appear very soft, but the intensity of the murmur are appear in constant manner, because when ventricle contract, they pump all the blood into the atrium. They pump all the blood from ventricle into the atrium, because this valve has larger lumen as compared to the semilunar valves. So the whole and also they have less resistance, and that's why all the ventricular blood are passing from ventricle into the atrium and not into the aorta and pulmonary artery. So that's why they produce a holosystolic murmur. This means their intensity start from the S1, that is very soft, and remain constant and travel into the S2 phase before S2 phase. This murmur are known as holosystolic murmur, and holosystolic murmurs are appear in regurgitation of mitral valve, regurgitation of tricuspid valve, and again it is also appear in the ventricular septal defect. Ventricular septal defect. Okay, now last murmur is late systolic murmur. Late systolic murmur. And the examples are mitral prolapse and again tricuspid prolapse. Okay, now mechanism. So what really happens in mitral prolapse? In mitral prolapse, valves are in erect position. Normally valves are in the erect position. What really happens in prolapse, these valves, due to the any connective tissue disorder, they are just like Marfan syndrome or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or myxomatous diseases. These are the connective tissue diseases in which their connective tissue are degenerate, and due to the degeneration of this connective tissue, they are bulged into the atria. Due to the rapid contraction of this ventricle, these valves normally are found in the erect position, but in mitral prolapse, when ventricles are contract, they bulge into the atrium, but this cannot produce a sound. Okay, first you have to be remembered that when ventricle slowly contract, their walls are bulged, and due to this bulging, sound are not produced. But when major ventricle contracts, their prolapse wall due to the connective tissue disorder, they regurgitate into the atrium, and again they produce sound. So initially, when ventricle initially contract, mitral valves prolapse and bulge into the atrium, and they cannot produce a sound. But when major ventricle contraction occurs, what really happens, this bulge valves are more bulged into the atrium, and they allow the blood to passing from ventricle into the atrium, and they produce the turbulent sound, which is known as late systolic murmur. So I think you easily understand that they appear in the late. Why they appear in the late? Because initially why it is appear in the late phase of the systolic, because initially when ventricle systole, they only bulge the valve into the atrium, but this bulging does not allow the blood passing from ventricle into the atrium. But when major ventricle contract, these AV valves are more bulged into the atrium, and they allow the blood to passing from ventricle into the atrium, that produce a turbulent sound that is appear in the late phase of the systole. So this is a representation of representation of pensystolic murmur, and this is a representation of late systolic murmur. Now let's move on to the diastolic murmurs. Okay, now come to the diastolic murmur. So first murmur is early diastolic murmur. And this early diastolic murmur appear in two categories: in aortic mitral stenosis, and second one is tricuspid stenosis. It's very easy to understand. Okay, first of all, these murmurs appear in diastolic phase of ventricles. So let's talk about the mechanism. What really happens in early diastolic murmurs? Now come to the again diagram. What really happens in mitral stenosis or tricuspid stenosis? These valves are hard and they are narrow, and their lumens are narrow. So when atria, first of all, this appear in the diastolic phase. Diastolic phase means this ventricle are in the form of diastole, they are relaxed, they cannot contract. Okay, so what will happen in the early diastolic phase? The blood which is found in the atrium are slowly passing from this narrow lumen into the respective ventricles. In the early phase, what really happens, the blood which is previously present in the atria are passing easily from this narrow channel into the ventricle. But in the late phase, as the atria are contract, and when atria are contract, they pump the remaining blood from atria into the ventricle, and when in the late phase this atria are contract, the blood passing from very rapidly, and they produce a rapid sound that is appear in the diastolic. So late diastolic phase. So now representation S1, S2 and again S1. From S2 to S1 there is a diastolic phase. So this murmurs it is not appear in the systolic phase, it is only appear in the diastolic phase. And here you can note that it is not initially appear, it appear after a certain time, and first they increase and then decrease. First because when atria contract, initially they produce a very rapid sound. So it is appear the very high intensity, but when this atria are stopped to contract, the intensity are decreased. Here you can note that. So this appear not in the initially, but after a certain of time, we can say 0.01 second, and initially it is very intensified, but after that, after a certain time, it decreases their intensity. So this is the representation of diastolic murmurs. First diastolic murmur, and this diastolic murmur is early diastolic murmur, or it is known as decrescendo murmur. Why it is called decrescendo murmurs? Because in decrescendo murmurs, the high intensity murmur sound are gradually decrease their intensity, and here you can appreciate that the highly intensity sound are gradually decrease in their intensity. That's why it is called decrescendo murmurs. Right. Now coming to the second category, that is known as mid to late diastolic murmur. Diastolic murmur. So it is appear in severe, yes, it appear in the severe mitral stenosis. It is appear in severe mitral stenosis or severe tricuspid stenosis. See, what really happens in severe mitral stenosis? When this atria are contract, this lumen are so narrow, blood are passing from this narrow channel in a very slow. Why it is passing from very slow? Because their lumen are so much narrow. That's why these murmurs are appearing very late. In the late phase, this atria when contract in the very late phase, because in the early the blood cannot pass from atria into the ventricles because they are narrow, their lumens are very narrow. But when in the very late phase, when atria contract very strongly, they allow some blood from passing from this atria into the ventricle, and that produces a sound which is very soft. That is very soft. So now I want to represent it here. S2, S1, and again S1. So it is appear in the late or sometime in the midway. So this is the representation of, yes, mid to late diastolic murmurs. Okay, so right now what did we learn? First of all, murmurs are divided into systolic and diastolic on the basis of timing. Okay, now systolic murmurs are further divided into we can say the ejection murmur, pain-systolic murmur, and late systolic murmur. And diastolic murmur are further divided into, yes, early diastolic murmur and mid to late diastolic murmur. Okay, let's come into the systolic murmur. What really happens in systolic murmurs? The first category is ejection murmurs. In ejection murmur or crescendo decrescendo murmurs, the murmurs are appear initially very slow and increase their intensity, and then slowly gradually decrease their intensity, and it is appear in the aortic stenosis and aortic stenosis and pulmonary artery stenosis. Okay, next is space systolic murmurs, that is appear in the mitral valve regurgitation and tricuspid valve regurgitation. What really happens in this, the ventricles are contract, they allow much blood from passing from ventricle into the atria, that is backflow, and it produces a pain systolic murmur. And the last one is late diastolic murmurs, in which murmurs appear in the very last due to the mitral valve prolapse. What really happens in mitral valve prolapse, when initially ventricles contract, mitral valve are bulged, but they cannot allow the blood to passing from ventricle into the atria. But when ventricles are contract strongly, they bulge the whole wall into the atria, and to this whole bulging, the blood are easily passing from ventricles into the atria, and it produced in the very late phase, because in early the bulging are half and the late the bulging are full, and that's why they appear in the last. Okay, now diastolic murmurs are further divided into two categories. The early diastolic murmurs are first appear in the mitral stenosis and tricuspid stenosis, and mechanism we discussed that. And again mid to late diastolic murmurs, that is appear in the severe mitral stenosis and tricuspid stenosis, and here is the representation of classification. Now move on to the very unique, we can say very unique murmur, that is continuous murmur. Now let's talk about the continuous murmur. Don't forget that is very important. continuous murmur also known as, yes, these are also known as machinery murmurs. Continuous murmurs or machinery murmurs. So what really happens in this? First of all, it is appear in the PDA. What is PDA? Persistent ductus arteriosus. Persistent or patent. Persistent ductus arteriosus. What is arteriosus? What is persistent ductus arteriosus? Now I want to draw it here. What really happens during the fetal circulation within the mother womb? Here is the atria, ventricles. Here is the septum, valves. So from left ventricles to appear, from right ventricle they appear a pulmonary artery, and from the left ventricle appear a aorta. Okay, so here is the aorta. Please don't confuse that, because aorta is not as swing that I made it. Here is the What really happens in neonatal circulation? The oxygenated blood from the umbilical arteries, umbilical veins come directly to the right ventricle, and from right atrium, into the right ventricle, pulmonary artery. But pulmonary artery does not allow the blood to passing from artery into the lungs, because this pulmonary artery send the blood to the lungs, and in neonatal phase lungs are not functioning, and that's why the blood cannot allow to pass into the lungs. So here is the connection in which blood cannot pass into the lungs, but from pulmonary artery directly pass into the aorta, and this channel allow the oxygenated blood to pass from pulmonary artery into the aorta, and this aorta supply the blood to all over the body. But this is the circulation of neonatal. But after birth, normally this ductus arteriosus disappear or filled with some connective tissue and make a ligament, and does not allow the blood to passing from right atrium into the, does not allow blood from pulmonary artery into the aorta. Okay, but if it persists after birth, if this lumen, or we can ductus arteriosus persist after birth, after birth lungs are functioning and their left ventricle are also functioning, and when left ventricle are functioning, they allow the high, because left ventricle have large amount of myocytes, or that's why left ventricle contract very strong and as compared to right ventricle. And when this left ventricle contract blood, the blood passing from this aorta, and when this aortic blood passing from this narrow channel into the pulmonary artery, they produce a turbulent sound. So it really happens when ventricles contract, right atrium eject the blood after birth. Now we will discuss the after birth mechanism. The right ventricle and left ventricle both are functioning, and their lungs are also functioning. When this right ventricle pump the blood, into the low pressure pulmonary artery, and this ventricle that have much cardiac myocytes, and due to which left ventricle contract in a very strong. When this left ventricle contract very strong, they allow more pressure into the aorta, and due to which this aortic blood passing from aorta into the low pressure pulmonary artery. So when this high pressure blood passing from aorta into the pulmonary artery, they produce a murmur. So initially this murmur start with the systolic, because when systole they pass blood from aorta into the pulmonary artery. Start with the systole from S1, and when phase start diastolic, when diastolic phase start, their valves are closed and the blood cannot pass from left ventricle into the aorta, but the remaining blood but the remaining blood which is found in the aorta after systole, when diastolic start, the remaining blood which is found in the aorta are remain very high as compared to pulmonary artery. What really happens during systole, the blood passing from these valves are open and the blood passing from this aorta into the pulmonary artery. But when these valves are closed and the phase start diastolic, the remaining blood which is found in the aorta are again very high as compared to pulmonary artery. And again in the diastolic phase, this aortic blood again passing from this narrow channel into the pulmonary artery, again they produce a sound. Start with the systolic phase, and it also continue with the diastolic phase, because in the diastolic phase the remaining blood is found in the aorta are much high as compared to the pulmonary artery, and they allow the blood to pass from aorta into the pulmonary artery, and they again produce the sound in the diastolic phase. So that's why it is known as continuous murmur, or we can say the machinery murmurs that is appear in the persistent ductus arteriosus. So right now we are only discuss the timings and their intensity. Now talk about the pitch, and those murmurs which is appear in the very narrow channels, those murmurs which is produced in stenotic valves, those murmurs which appear in stenotic valves are high pitch, because high pitch means murmur sounds are very narrow and pinpricked, that is very straight line. But as compared to the stenotic murmurs, the regurgitated murmurs, those murmurs which is appear in the regurgitation of valves, they produce sound that disperse into the whole over the heart, and due to this dispersion their pitch are very low, and that's why those murmurs which is appear in the regurgitated valves are low frequency or low pitch sounds, and those murmurs which is appear in the stenotic valves are high pitch sounds. Now let's come to the shapes, and shape we will also discuss that murmurs. This murmur is the shape of this murmur is crescendo decrescendo, and this they have constant, there is no change, and also this is, so these are the shapes, different shapes. This is the decrescendo shape, or these are the late phases. And locations, now coming to the locations. So it is very important to understand that locations, those murmurs which is appear in the aorta, if you want to hear the murmurs which is appear in the aorta, you have to apply the stethoscope at the second intercostal space at the right sternal border. If you want to hear the murmurs of aorta, you have to apply the stethoscope at the right sternal border at second intercostal space. And if you want to hear the pulmonary murmurs, you have to apply the stethoscope at the same level, that is second intercostal space, but at the left sternal border. Again, if you want to hear the murmurs of mitral valves, you have to apply the stethoscope at the level of fourth intercostal space, left sternal border. And if you want to hear the mitral valve murmurs, you have to apply the stethoscope at fifth intercostal space, and or we can say you can apply the stethoscope at the apex level. Okay, now radiation means murmurs. You can hear the murmurs at different levels where murmurs are radiate. So where murmurs are radiate, when blood are turbulent, when blood flow, radiation of murmurs occurs where turbulent blood flow occurs. And the last one is response to maneuvers means those activities which increase the murmurs and those activities which decrease the murmurs. Inspiration increase the right side murmurs, just like tricuspid right side murmurs, just like tricuspid murmurs and aortic murmurs. And those murmurs which are in the left side are increased with the expiration. Right side murmurs are also increased when afterload increase, or we can say the venous return are increased. When venous return are increased, the right side murmurs are also increased as compared to the left side. In left side murmurs, what really happens, when the more blood comes from the pulmonary veins, the more intense sound are produced in left side. So inspiration increase the right side murmurs and expiration increase the left side murmurs. So these are some details of murmurs. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please share it to others.